Hey guys, I've told you a million times that investing is the new sexy, but there are just so many options. Who do I go with? Who's gonna hold my hand and walk me through it if I'm new to investing? Who's gonna give me the best analysis and information? Well, VM Wealth is one of those agencies that is differentiating themselves in this space. I'm joined now by Rezworth Burchenson. He's the CEO of Victoria Mutual Investments Limited and VM Wealth. Hi, Rez. It's great to meet you in person finally.
Hi, Rez. Good joke. Thank you. Likewise. Great to meet you.
That's an interesting name, Rez.
Rezworth.
I don't know anybody else with that name. Where you get that name from?
My grandmother.
Your grandmother came up with it?
Putting words together after I was born. Came up with Lenworth. And after some refining, they found Rezworth. So my friends call me Rez.
Interesting.
It's a lovely name.
It is. It is. High resolution, high definition.
All of those things.
Perfect for what you do here at VML and VM Wealth.
Yep.
Now, one of the things that people ask me all the time is, who should I invest with? Which is the best broker? And I always tell them, well, it depends on what you're looking for. What are your needs? How much money do you have to invest? How much money do you have to start? Do you want to bank online? Do you prefer a more personal touch? Tell me what differentiates VM Wealth.
Okay, interesting. It's important for investors, whether it be advanced or novice investor, to really understand what it is that you're looking for from a broker. You're looking for execution, but my view is that you're looking for advice and information and education. That's what certainly is the compelling value proposition of a broker.
Absolutely.
And I do believe that at VM Wealth that we provide that and more. We have quite a bit of information which is available to clients and non-clients, because anybody can sign up for the information that we provide. We provide information on the stock market at the end of each day. We have an exciting video series on YouTube, not as exciting as yours, but exciting nonetheless, where we provide information on the local market and also the international market. We provide stock picks in terms of which stocks to buy, which stocks to sell. We provide bond analysis, because our investors not only buy stocks, they buy bonds. We've also recently started to provide analysis on overseas companies, because a lot of investors are seeing the movement in the Jamaican stock market, and they're also witnessing a boom overseas.
Right.
They're saying, why aren't I buying Home Depot or Amazon,
Tesla,
etc.
Apple.
Some of these exciting names. So we're starting to provide information on that market, because last year we actually launched our overseas equity platform, where investors can buy stocks in the US market. And then lastly, but definitely not least, is that we have a webinar, I would say every month, where we have exciting speakers. We actually did one with you a couple weeks ago.
Right. That's Wealth Talks.
Wealth Talks. And from those engaging speakers that we bring in from worldwide, they share a perspective on the local market and also on the international market. What I'd also say to persons is that we have to really watch the international space, because we're looking for the advanced economies to kind of lift us out of this global recession. So understanding the drivers of US growth or global growth, whether it be oil prices or trade information, manufacturing information, the labor market. It's very important for investors to not only look at the Jamaican numbers, but to also look at those numbers as lead indicators. So we provide all of that. And of course, our team in-house, our sales team, very informative. You can call and have a conversation, even if you're not a client, to understand a bit more on the local market.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, on the episode, the edition of Wealth Talks that I hosted for you, you had an international expert who
exactly
spoke about the US stock market. So yeah, absolutely. The information that you provide is key. You also have a newsletter, right?
We've started a newsletter focused primarily on COVID. So we provide information regarding, what are the trends internationally, the trends primarily on the econ front, and how that will impact developments in the future.
So, do you have to be a client of Victoria Mutual in order to access all this great
No,
information?
you do not. You do not. So whilst other brokerage houses only provide information if you're a client, we're saying no, because we believe that all Jamaicans, the 2.8 here and the 2.8 overseas, must be informed about wealth creation opportunities. Too often over the past 50 years, I don't believe Jamaicans really understood how to create wealth. I believe that where they were invested weren't wealth creating products. And the switch to looking at real estate and also equities, I believe that is where we ought to look at for wealth creation. Because we have looked at the data. And the data says that if you look at Jamaican stocks, real estate, bonds, etc., the best asset class is equities. So certainly we're using that information to inform our clients as to where they ought to invest based on their time horizon, whether it be 10, 20, 30 years out.
So I absolutely endorse that message of sharing the information. That's actually why I started doing what I do, because I noticed that there was a gap in information. I feel like many people want to invest and they want to create wealth. Who doesn't want to be wealthy, right?
Agreed.
But the know-how is where we have the shortage. So how do people get this information from VM Wealth? Do you subscribe?
Okay, so the information is actually on our website, it's vmwealth.vmbs.com, or you can send us an email, wealthinfo@myvmgroup.com. So once you get an email, you're in our database. Every week you get information.
Yeah, and I like that you don't actually have to be a client, although the objective is to eventually get them to convert, right? But the thing is, once you provide the value for people, they will eventually come. So I like that approach that you've taken. Tell me a bit about the performance of your company over the past year or so.
Okay, so the 2019 was a very interesting year for us. Actually, we had our AGM a couple of weeks ago. Lots of wins for the business. Last year, we raised close to $20 billion for Jamaican corporates across a number of sectors, telecom, manufacturing, real estate investment companies. Actually, there was one transaction where we actually underwrote the transaction, the $2 billion transaction. So we're actually very proud of that. Our property fund was the top performing property fund last year for 2 years running. So it's our flagship product now. We also, last year, actually celebrated 25 years. So we all know VMBS. VMBS has been around for over 140 years. VM Wealth has been only around for 25 years. So last year we celebrated 25 years. Our website was judged the first run-up. The Jamaica Stock Exchange, they have a competition called the JC Best Practice Awards. So we were judged the first runner-up. The VMI stock price, so our shareholders also got rewarded. Last year, our performance was quite stellar, close to 138% in terms of stock performance. We also launched, as I said before, our international equity trading platform, and we've been getting favorable reviews of the platform. So a number of positives last year. And then lastly, in terms of the financial performance of the enterprise, last year we moved profits from about $400 million to $600 million. So our shareholders obviously were encouraged by the performance of the business last year.
Wonderful stuff. So what are some of the things that you're looking towards for 2020 and beyond?
Wow. So can I tell you, can I give you a secret?
No, not really. You're talking to the wrong person to keep a secret.
Okay, understood.
On the record.
On the record?
Yes.
Okay, this information is actually public information because we actually shared it at the AGM, and it's actually in our annual report, because we believe that our shareholders should get more about where the company is going. So we provide some guidance as it relates to the areas we're going to focus on for 2020. So first of all is that we're going to expand our distribution. We are currently in a number of locations across the island, but we believe that a lot more could be done. So the intent is to extend that by 6 for 2020. We have done 3 thus far, so we have 3 more to go. And we believe that there are investors, not only in Kingston, there are investors in Savlamar, in Montego Bay, all over the island, that really want to eyeball a wealth advisor and have a conversation. Some person will go on the website, they'll read, they'll understand, but person have to have an interaction. So that's a key component of our strategy for 2020. We also want to launch our...
How do you do that in social distancing times?
Okay, well, the strategy was crafted prior to COVID.
Right.
But we can still have a conversation along with the practice social distancing. You have your mask, I have my mask. We're 6 feet apart. We can have a conversation about investment opportunities. Because I do believe that in 2020, investment opportunities abound. And let me tell you why. At the start of 2020, a lot of Jamaican investors were buying stocks. The stocks was the new crave. A lot of those stock prices are falling 20-30%. But the fundamental nature of those businesses haven't changed. I mean, they've had a minor blip, if you ask me. And what we're seeing is that the prices are down, valuations are compelling. Now is the time that we're encouraging investors to go out and buy these stocks that you were very keenly interested in 5 months ago.
Because now you can get a discount.
Well, not even discount. I mean, they are trading at very compelling numbers. You call it discount, I call it something else. So we're saying to investors, if it is that you're trying to build a portfolio for 20 years, 30 years, even 10 years, now is the time. And if you look at the performance of the Jamaican stock market for the past, 5 years, what happened was that we came out of a period of a challenge. The IMF program, etc., created a framework for Jamaica to grow, for companies to grow. We believe that COVID will impact Jamaica, but COVID will go away. We believe that the Jamaican economy will rebound, and certainly stock prices will follow accordingly. Why do I say that? We came from the 1970s, experimental democratic socialism. We went through structural adjustment. We survived Hurricane Gilbert. We survived FinSac. We survived a couple of debt exchanges. And throughout that period,
the 08 recession.
08 recession, throughout that period, equities was the best performing asset class. So we're saying to investors, don't step back. Right? Now is the time to boldly step forward, not to invest all at once, because we don't know how long this pandemic will last, but to incrementally increase your holdings in the key asset classes, equities, real estate, some US dollar bonds, etc. So which is why we're encouraging persons to come and talk to us. We're receptive to our conversation. Only then can we understand your unique requirements, and we can guide accordingly.
But what's your perspective on how long it might take for the rebound to actually happen? So how patient would investors have to be?
Okay, so the numbers speak for themselves. There have been various projections from the Bank of Jamaica, from IMF, and also the monetary authorities. We believe that rebound may take 2 to 3 years, but the previous IMF program took 3 years. It's 3 years of pain, right? But having survived it, we saw the fruits of that sacrifice. So, what we have to do is to look back in our past. What were some of the experiences or opportunities that we missed and why we missed them? And to say, well, let's ensure that the opportunities that will be created in the future, that we don't miss those opportunities. So it's going to be a tough period. When we're going through the IMF program, it was a tough period. But, we saw the benefits of it. COVID is going to be a tough period. But we believe that we will rebound. That's my view.
One of the products that you offer is unit trust. VM Wealth has 8 unit trust products.
Correct.
Tell me about those. And you have some others coming up too.
Yes, we have 2 coming for 2020. And we're very excited. We hope to launch those in Q4. And we believe that it will appeal to investors who are looking for a particular asset class and a particular risk-return trade-off.
Okay, before you go any further, explain what a unit trust is.
Sure. A unit trust simply means that it's a collective investment vehicle. So myself and 2 of my buddies, we basically pool our money together and we buy investments. And the investments rise in value, that we share proportionately in the gain, and we share proportionately in the loss. That's all it is. It's like a partner plan invested and we're sharing the gains. Except that for unit trust is regulated by the FSC and by the trustees. Just ensure that, you know, what would happen in a partner, somebody run away, that would not obtain for unit trust. Fair? Pretty easy. Our flagship portfolio is our property fund, as I said before, 2 consecutive years of growth. Secondly would be our equity portfolio. And for the past 5 years, our equity portfolio generated on average 20 to 30%. So imagine if you're invested in my equity portfolio for the past 5 years, how much more gains we'd have now compared to 5 years ago. Which is one of the reasons why we said to persons, you really can't be scared of equities. You really can't be scared of investments as long as you think long term.
So what's the returns on the flagship one, the real estate one?
So the real estate one last year was 14%, the year before was 7%. And it was the best performing property fund in Jamaica. That fund is invested primarily in commercial real estate, not a great exposure to residential. And then our equity portfolio is invested in primarily blue chip companies on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
And blue chip, we're giving you 20, 30%.
Correct.
There are some perceptions about, people ask me all the time, is real estate a better investment than equities, or is one safer than the other? What's your perspective on that?
Okay, so I get that question all the while. I always say to persons that you must have a balanced portfolio. So in every portfolio, there's a role for equities, there's a role for real estate, there's a role for US dollar bonds, there's a role for a savings account, there's a role for your emergency fund. It much depends on your risk appetite, and it also depends on your capacity to absorb shocks and your time horizon. So for example, if you're 20, you want to be primarily invested in equities and real estate. Whilst if you're at retirement or in retirement, you want to ensure that your exposure to riskier assets will be minimized. So if you're in equities, you want to be in stocks that are generating dividend income. So as you move from 30 to 70, you're actually reducing your allocation to equities. So that's how we believe persons ought to view their portfolio. Many times persons say equities is a risky asset class. It is. But if you're 30, not needing money for 40 years, you can invest in that asset class. So that's how we ask persons to view how they create a portfolio for the long term.
You have US dollar products as well.
Correct.
At the time that we're recording this, the Jamaican dollar to the US is at 151. Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts on investing in US dollar products right now?
Okay, so we have seen the movement in the currency for the past 40 years. On average, the currency moves between 3 and 5%, depending on the year and depending on the macro circumstances. You must have some allocation to US dollar investments. It's just a foregone conclusion. What we'll say though, so I wanted to establish that fact. What we'll say though is that based on the numbers that we have looked at, that equities, Jamaican equities, over the 40-year period outperform US dollar investments. Real estate outperform US dollar investments. But is there a role for US dollar in your investment portfolio? Yes, there is. So we guide, on average, you should have between 20 and 30% of your portfolio in US dollar opportunities. And obviously, based on macro circumstances, you may want to overweight and underweight based on the macro circumstances.
Mm-hmm. We've been talking a lot about wealth creation and the different tools that you offer at VM Wealth to assist in that. But something that people don't often talk about is giving back. So once you've created the wealth, even while you're on the way to creating wealth, it's always a good thing to give back. And that's something that you have done here too. You've participated and sponsored. Well, you can tell me what all you participate in.
Sure. Okay, so what I want to start with is that last year we celebrated 25 years. And we did ask ourselves in VM Wealth, well, how do we celebrate 25 years of service to Jamaica? And the first suggestion would be, let's have a party. And it was a decent suggestion. However, a wise person in the room said, why? Why don't we give back? Why don't we find some persons in need and organization need and just give back. So we landed on Sunbeam Boys Home in St. Catherine. We spent the day. We planted some trees because they have an agricultural product. And as it turned out, there is a gentleman that goes to UWI from the boys' home doing actuarial sciences. And we simply said, interesting. We're going to adopt this gentleman, this student, until he matriculates from university in 2 years' time. So that's how we give back. We also leverage the VM Foundation for various activities. And then,
okay, so tell me more about the young man. So where is he now? How's that going?
No, he's doing fine. His grades are great. And he comes to the office periodically. We check up on him, etc. So that is going very well.
Nice.
So and I believe it's going to be a joy for us when he eventually graduates from UWI. To say that here it is that somebody who was finding it challenging, that we actually assisted them to kind of get to where they wanted to have gotten to.
Love it. You participate in health activities too, the 5Ks.
We did a number of 5Ks last year. Montego Bay in Kingston.
Did you run or walk?
I did the True Juice one.
That's the toughest one.
It's a very tough 5K.
That's the toughest one.
It's the toughest one, and I survived.
What was your time?
I don't remember those things. At this point in time.
Conveniently.
Yeah. But not only did I participate, team members participated. Clients also participated. And for the clients who participated, they found it refreshing. Normally, you take a client out to dinner or for drinks or some event. This is a different spin on engaging clients. So we did food for the poor, True Juice. Their raise was for the Lindsay Hospital. We did QNM Mutual in Montego Bay. And we also did the digital run. Mm-hmm. And had it not been for COVID, we would have done some more this year, but we're finding other ways to give back.
I like that. You incorporate the health with the corporate social responsibility with client engagement. It's a win-win-win.
Yeah. And also team engagement, because our team members also participated. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that our team members, found it interesting to also align with clients on a social level after these events. So it also help to kind of boost staff morale.
Is there anything else that you wanted to mention?
Well, what I would say to your subscribers is that, most persons know of VMBS and they don't know that the VM group, that there's an investment arm. That investment arm is Victoria Mutual Wealth Management. The parent company is called VMIL. We're listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. So if you want to buy shares, you can participate there. But VM Wealth is all about informing investors for them to navigate this turbulent investment market, primarily in 2020. And we provide quite a bit of information. Just come and have a talk with us. The information that we provide is free of cost, but also come and engage us and let us assist you to create, grow, and sustain your wealth.
Thanks, Rez. This was really great. Enjoy the talk.
Thank you very much. And likewise, we had a fun chat. Come again, let's talk. And I'm hoping that this will also boost your subscribers.
Absolutely, and boost your clients.
Thank you very much.
So if you want more information, if you want to subscribe to their newsletter or to open an investment account at VM Wealth, just send an email to wealthinfo@myvmgroup.com. That's it, guys. I'm Kalila Reynolds. Until next time.